Hey, come see me do stand-up in Ontario, California, Las Vegas, and Davenport, Iowa. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So Kevin Spacey made some news. I'm going to show you a video, but this is Kevin Spacey right there. That's him sitting in like a throne chair right next to convicted sex felon Ghislaine Maxwell.
An ocean philanthropist.
It's obvious the two of them don't know each other.
Yeah.
They just both like sitting on a red silk throne. That's all that is. It's always nice to run into somebody with mutual interest. So let's listen. And the reason
Clinton?
the reason I show you this is because he went on Piers Morgan and tried to deny everything, his association with Jeffrey Epstein. Here we go.
In 2015, I started seeing reports online, things on my Twitter account that I had flown to this guy, Jeffrey Epstein's island, and I had abused young girls.
It wasn't him. It was Kaiser Soze.
Yeah. Also, young girls, okay, sure, he's probably innocent of that charge.
Yeah.
That's why he's
And I was like, I mean, if you'd asked me in 2015, maybe even if you'd asked me in 2002, did I know a guy named Jeffrey Epstein? I probably would have said no. Well, of course, I have since learned who.
Because I probably would be lying back then.
Yeah, they told me to say no.
I probably would have said no.
Well, also because he was. So first of all, the actors don't know who the guy is that owns the thing. You got to go pay tribute to the guy.
That's right.
From the low-level things I've done, I always had to go pay tribute to the guy that owns the thing.
That's right.
Never once have I not been introduced.
Okay.
That's not even an important thing.
And I have since been able to go back and find out that the airplane that we flew on for this humanitarian mission was owned by Jeffrey Epstein. And to then learn, oh, he was actually on some of those flights. And this Maxwell woman was on some of those flights.
Maxwell woman.
The Maxwell woman.
I've never spent any time with him. I was with the Clinton Foundation people. That's who I was with.
That's even better.
Yeah. That's more suspicious.
Now, what I understand is that he didn't start to be investigated until 2005 by authorities in Florida. So here's what I can tell you. This Maxwell woman, she was one of many people who sat down next to me in that throne room. I have no relation.
In that throne room. It's a throne room.
And you don't know the people who own the thrones of the throne room.
It's just some woman. I don't know who's sitting.
The Maxwell woman.
Yeah. A lot of people sit next to me in the throne room.
And you're in the Clinton Foundation. You didn't say hi to her at Chelsea's wedding?
Wedding, right?
Relationship with her. I had no relationship with him. I mean, he's not my friend. I'm not a confidant. I've never spent time with him. And interestingly, I will say this. I was very fortunate that President.
First of all, let me just say, he's like the poster boy for the liberal class. He's puzzled and concerned.
He is.
Baffled by allegations of corruption and criminality among the global elite. It's like he.
First of all, he looks like a clone.
If brunch had a face.
He looks like a puffy. Is that maybe some work he had done that makes him look bewildered and surprised?
Yeah, I think so.
Look at how puffy he is. It's so strange.
That's his earnest face as he asks a 14-year-old to tell him about their Spider-Man's lunchbox.
Tell me about your underoos.
And interestingly, I will say this. I was very fortunate that President Clinton introduced me a lot of business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. And I developed relationships with Robert Earl, Kula Ladobovich, Robert Earl, a lot of wonderful people, Sir Richard Caring, people who supported the work that we did at the Old Vic.
Businessmen helped him with the Old Vic or with the young boys? Come on.
I was going to say trafficking. Was that the business?
Do you have any idea, Kurt, how hard it is to raise money for the theater? Nobody wants to buy tickets because it's fucking boring.
Yeah, right. It's really just a meat market is what it is.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know how is he supposed to play Jack Benny after this? Here we go.
And gave money to us.
They gave money to.
Do you know who I never asked for anything? Who was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy.
Why?
Because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights.
There were young girls on those flights, yeah.
So he starts off, well, this guy gets it. He literally begins by saying he had no idea who Epstein was. and ends by saying that he was worried that Epstein was putting Clinton at risk. Correct, insinuating he knows exactly what was going on and knew exactly who Epstein was.
Is that a subtle threat from Kevin Spacey that you better let me back in because I was worried? You know, like
I was worried about.
I would look up all those business people.
No, because they'll just kill him. He can't threaten anybody. He knows the Clintons. He knows how the CIA works. He knows how the Mossad works. He knows. Hey, by the way, where did I get the impression that Kevin Spacey was a good actor? Because did I just witness that the worst performance of his life? That is, I mean, this is the one thing he didn't want to blow. If you know what I'm saying. Come on.
Boy, look at how strange he looks.
Yes. By the way, you know, he was acquitted.
Yeah.
Of his charges.
He was matured.
He was he was matured.
He was grievously matured.
Matured. And by the way, he uses the Clinton Foundation
as a character witness.
As an alibi.
Oh my God. Why you I mean,
you know, using the Clinton Foundation as a reason why you're not involved in human trafficking is like saying your AA sponsor is Charles Bukowski.
Yeah, like it's like you're probably in a much worse program than whatever he was doing.
No, I was just there at the Clinton Foundation. I wasn't doing anything nefarious.
Do you know how creepy the Clinton Foundation?
I was just trying to, you know, suppress the poor in Haiti and take away their minimum wage
and get that lady pardoned that was kidnapping orphans by mistake. By mistake, in quotes.
By mistake.
Remember Laura? What's her name?
No.
Laura Silsby. That was their friend who ran some church that was helping get all these orphans out of Haiti after the earthquake. And then the parents of the orphans said, "They're not orphans; those are our kids."
Those are our kids.
And she was arrested. And then Bill Clinton pardoned her. She was just making a silly Billy mistake of taking 10 to 12 kids out of a country to adopt. I mean, come on, man. That's one of the most suspicious things I've ever heard in my life. And now that I know all that creepy ass shit they did in the 90s with MK Ultra stuff, the church is making it even more extra suspicious.
So anyway, nice job, Kevin Spacey. Nice job. I'm sure you see. How do you start off by saying, I don't even know who this guy was? And then at the end, I didn't want the president to be around this guy because all these guys knew could tell.
You know, the great work we were doing in the club. What great work were you doing?
So you didn't know who this guy was, but you also wouldn't take money from him. What? But you would take money from those other three guys, but not that guy because you didn't know who he was? The guy whose plane you're on? Everybody, that's exactly what you said. You gotta give homage to the rich guy. You gotta go pay your respects.
If he's a throne room,
yes.
Like, if somebody with a throne room, I feel like you're gonna have to meet him and say hi and shake hands at least.
That's right.
And sit down next to the woman that's close with him, who you clearly know.
Clearly, all right. Anyway,
do you know his brother? Look up his brother, Randall.
So I do now. Since you told me this, I actually have a little sympathy for Kevin Spacey. Yeah. I thought he was just a crazy, real prick, right? No, but tell people what's the story behind him.
So you look. I can't remember the dad's name, but you can look him up. So his brother, I thought he was gay. He's a Rod Stewart impersonator. He's not gay.
He's not gay.
It's just he dresses like Rod Stewart. It makes people gay when they look. But he said so. Their dad was first of all, data. I bet the dad had intelligence connections, but he had a Hitler mustache. He looked like Kevin Spacey with a Hitler mustache. And he would rape them.
So Kevin Spacey's father would rape him and his brother.
Yeah, just wanted to get the hell out, and he would like go along to get along until there was the way his brother says is like he would go along to get along until there was nothing left of him. Which sounds like a metaphor for America, by the way.
Wow.
Like anybody out there is like, I just want to keep my head down and go and maybe get a job in a nice car. That's what becomes of you. A guy pretending you don't know who Ghislaine is.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey.
So I honestly do, since I know that. I'm not saying he's a good person and he didn't do the things he's accused of. I'm just saying that there, but for the grace of God. I mean, if I was raped repeatedly by my father.
And your dad had a Hitler mustache.
And my dad had a Hitler mustache. I mean, I'm sure I'd be.
The ways you might dissociate would be wild.
I have a lot of problems now. I can't imagine, you know.
No, people that can just go, this isn't happening.
I mean, that makes his dad makes my dad look like Mr. Cleaver.
But do you go out of your body when you're being abused and like just act like it's not happening? Because that's what people look for to bring you into important positions. You understand? It's not even like they treat it like a psychic ability. It's not. What it is just blanking out and not acknowledging
being able to disassociate.
And not everybody can do it that well. Like me, I'm very loud when I'm unhappy, and everybody has to know. Some people just go out of their body.
I'm very similar.
Yeah, so you're not good for the program.
I'm not good.
And so, you know, if you think it sounds too gratuitous that it was a program, which it was a program, but just think of how it works now to move up in the thing. Oh, what's the thing I should be afraid to talk about? We just talked about Haiti. What should I be afraid to talk about for my career? I'll get a jump start on that now of being afraid to even mention it. And when you do mention up a normal thing that's a fact, I'll call it a conspiracy. And what I mean by that is, hey, that's the thing that could hold us back in our careers talking about. And every single man, woman, and child should act like that from now on if they want to make. So the only people make it all the way up. And the people who kind of made it somewhere, they've been pushed out now. The ones that would run their mouth. That's why do you think people love Trump? He just flaps his gums.
That's right.
And that's why they hate Trump.
That's why they hate him. They can't control him.
Yeah.
Hey, the mainstream media is unreliable and dishonest. That's why you watch this show, right?
Yes.
How can you trust them when they never told you the truth about Russiagate, Julian Assange, Ukraine, COVID, Syria? That's where our sponsor, Ground News, comes in. Ground News is an app and a website that gathers related articles from around the world in one place so you can compare the coverage, kind of like what we do with this show. They give you a visual breakdown of the news outlets, tell you if a source has a political bias, and how reliable the reporting is and who owns them, kind of like what we do with the show. Check this out. If you search Donald Trump for the top articles on his conviction, here's a story. It's an after guilty verdict. Trump will appear on the ballot in the last presidential primaries of 2024. So we see 27 related articles. 8 are left-leaning, 2 are right-leaning, 11 are center. Bias distribution is 52% center. And it even shows their logos along with their factuality and their ownership. Very helpful. Ground News gets you access to independent and international perspectives, not just nationalist sources with the same political agendas. It helps you to find the discrepancies in how certain topics are covered and shows you how corporate agendas can influence the news you read, kind of like what we do with this show. Sounds a lot like this show. So if you want to see it for yourself, go to ground.news/JD. Use the link below to get 40% off unlimited access. That's ground.news/JD. Hey, come see me do stand-up on tour in Ontario, California, Davenport, Iowa, Las Vegas, Nevada, Chicago, Illinois, a special video show with stand-up, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.